How's it going, everybody? Pastor Andrew here with another weekly vlog. As many of you know, I had the fun opportunity this last week to go to Park City, Utah for a cool ski trip. We left about a week and a half ago, and we drove all the way to Salt Lake City, stayed down in Salt Lake City, and then we went skiing for 3 days, and we had the fun opportunity on our day off. We went and looked at the Mormon Temple in Salt Lake. We also went and toured the Olympic Park, which was really cool. And while we were there, though, we had an opportunity to watch the Canadian and the Slovenian and the Ukrainian ski teams. They were there practicing at the Olympic Park up in Park City. It was really, really cool to watch them doing their acrobats. It was their freestyle ski team, so they were going off high jumps and doing flips in the air, and seeing them stick almost every landing, getting super jealous that I just will never have that ability to ski that well. As we were there too, we had the opportunity, we went and toured the upper parts of the Olympic Park, so we got to see the bobsled run and the luge run and the skeleton run from the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City. I remember as a kid watching the Olympics. That was one of the first Winter Olympics I remember watching and really following, and really started to fall in love with the Olympics. I remember watching, we got to tour the museum there as well, and we got to see all of the ski outfits and the skis. You got to sit in a bobsled, you got to sit in a luge sled and a skeleton sled. And it was interesting. We could, for the cost of $195, you could sit and ride down an Olympic bobsled all the way down. It was a 50-second ride, and you hit 5 Gs. So that was kind of cool. Anna wouldn't let us do it. I couldn't justify spending $200 for 50 seconds worth of fun. But one of the things, though, that stuck out to me is we're touring and watching and looking at all of this almost memorabilia from the Olympics and how hard these athletes train year-round. I think a lot of times in America we focus so much on our baseball players and our football players, and we don't really see a lot of our Olympians and how much work these people put in. It's interesting, there's a pool there that the Olympians, they can come from all over the world, they can still come to Park City, and they have a ramp that they can go down, especially for the ski jump. They come down, and it's for the summertime, and it is a clear plastic, and they hose it down with water. They have their skis on, they put wetsuits on, they go down these runs, they hit the ski jumps to practice, and then they land in these pools, and they're 60 degrees. They hit that water, they got their skis on, their ski boots, everything like that. But what amazed me is that they're doing that, just that they're doing that. A lot of times, especially skiing, we think about these Olympians, they just kind of practice a couple times a month, or a couple months out of the year. And then in the summertime, they just kind of do weightlifting and they kind of take the summer off. But that's not the case at all. A lot of these Olympians, they're practicing every single day. Being a huge baseball fan, though, I follow a lot of baseball players on Instagram and Twitter and everything like that. And a lot of these ball players, they play their season, they play their 165 game season, and then they take 2 months off. And, they might hit the batting cages once a day, if that, or they might go and do some weightlifting, something like that. But other than that, they take a few months off during the off season. And I think a lot of times when we view our spirituality, we kind of might take that perspective. We get real spiritual when we're almost in season. We get real spiritual when it's kind of convenient, when we feel like we really need God. But in those times where things might be going good, or times we almost get lazy in our walk with God and we don't really work on it. And then when times get tough, we go, God, where are you? Why aren't you here? Well, we've kind of turned off that moral compass in our life. We aren't really listening to God. We only listen to Him when it's convenient. And I think a lot of times we don't take this Olympic aspect with our walk with God, where we need to be training 24/7. We need to be working on that relationship. We need to be working on the things that we struggle with spiritually, because I know every single one of us struggles in some way, shape, or form with our relationship with God. Whether it's reading our Bibles or prayer or fellowshipping with other believers. There's things in our life that we constantly need to be working on spiritually with our walk with God. And as we were touring these Olympic facilities and just seeing the amount of work these Olympians put in, it really convicted me in a way of asking myself, am I training every single day? Am I putting in the work that I need to be putting in? Now, I mentioned before that bobsled run, most Olympians, they get down, they do 2 runs total. They do 2 runs and they last about 45 to 55 seconds. It's crazy to think that medals are separated by fractions and a millionth of a second. But the amount of work these bobsledders and these skeleton sledders or these skiers, they put in hours and hours of work every day. So the 2 50-second runs mean everything every 4 years. That's the other thing too. They get to the Olympics and they're doing 2 runs that matter. Our spiritual life is the same way. Are we willing to put in the work day after day after day? So when our spiritual life is tested, when it's time to stand up for God, are we going to be able to perform? Are we going to be able to do that? I think a lot of times, again, we take the American view of, I can take a day off. I don't need to worry about that today. I'll let tomorrow worry about that instead. No, we need to be working on our spiritual life every single day. And it matters. That's the other thing too, is a lot of times we don't really, I want to say value our walk with God, but we ride so hard on faith of, I can do what I want to do and then just ask for forgiveness later. That's not the case. That's not how our walk with God works. We should be striving to serve Him, to love Him every waking moment of our life. And the thing is we're going to fail at that. We're going to fail at that. I know I fail at that on a daily basis. We disobey God and sin every day. And that's what makes grace so amazing and so wonderful. For those times when we do fail, those times that we don't train, we don't focus on what matters. We put our desires first before God. So this week, as you do your thing, as you go to work, you go to school, whatever it might be, ask yourself, how am I bettering myself for God today? Because tomorrow will come, and yesterday doesn't matter. Don't focus on yesterday. Focus on today. Focus on, how can I train to be a better Christian? How can I work on my relationship with God today? That's going to build me up and cause me to go even further tomorrow. It's Pastor Andrew. Hope you have a great week. See you next week.